I'm your host, John O'Brien, and today we'll be reviewing to see if these works right here, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, The Sweetheart of the Song Jerome by Tim O'Brien, Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr., On the Rainy River by Tim O'Brien, and Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell should or should not be taught in today's classrooms nationwide. So we have a number of experts who will be joining us via video cam to discuss the pros and the cons of teaching these works in school. And so with that, let me introduce our first guest, Dr. Thomas Conrad, who is a professor of social adolescent psychology. Dr. Conrad.
Oh yes. Hello, Mr. O'Brien.
So, Dr. Conrad, you were going to discuss your opinion on whether these books right here should be taught in school?
After careful analysis of the works, it seems to me that these books hold a great significance to the development of the adolescent mind. Many of the messages conveyed within the works reflect many of the struggles that adolescents face while going to the next phase of their lives. For example, this book here, On the Rainy River, clearly shows the struggle that many children and teenagers have while they try to establish what is right and what is wrong in their mind. It also emphasizes how our society has such a great influence upon everything we do in our lives, and how it may skew our perception of what is deemed right and what is deemed wrong.
So you are saying that the story teaches children to conform to society, that eventually in the end they must give in, just as Tim
Quite
did?
the opposite, actually. Even though Tim eventually decides to go and join the war, he states that he regrets his decision. So, as you can see, Tim embodies the teenage psyche of deciding what is right and what is wrong, even when it may not be that of the law or country. Such is a good lesson for adolescents trying to find their moral identity. Of course, some still conform to society and are not happy with their decisions, and so they're screwed, basically. Looks like that's all the time I have for today. It's been a pleasure, Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Dr. Conrad.
You're very welcome.
When we come back, we'll have our next guest, Mr. Orwell. Are you looking to purchase some ivory? If so, you've come to the right place. I'm Carl Kurtz, and here at the company, we sell the finest ivory in town. For only 3 easy payments of $19.99, you can receive 1 pound of ivory delivered straight to your home. After placing your order, we will shoot an elephant, go to our natural suppliers in Africa, and deliver it straight to your home. So once again, that's only 3 easy payments of $19.99 for 1 pound of ivory delivered straight to your home. Order today while supplies last. And we're back with Literature Review. For those of you just joining us, we are reviewing whether these books right here should be taught in school. We've just heard from psychology expert Dr. Thomas Conrad, and now we have our next guest, Mr. Ian Orwell, a historian.
Hello, Mr. O'Brien.
So, Mr. Orwell, what are your thoughts on these works?
Well, from my viewpoint, many of these works hold great historical content, and much of the historical content is still relevant to the modern era. For example, Letter from Birmingham Jail discusses the time of the Civil Rights Movement. Even though African Americans have gained many rights since then, there is still racism and discrimination prevalent in today's world. Therefore, I think it should be taught in schools. On the other hand, another work, Heart of Darkness, The Greece discusses the sheer brutality of European imperialism. Similar to the civil rights in Letter from Birmingham Jail, Heart of Darkness displays the consequences of white superiority and the discrimination towards non-whites. However, I don't think this book in particular should be taught in schools. This is because while conveying the message of the story, Conrad is inherently racist. I feel as though this skews the message that the story is trying to convey because it's somewhat hypocritical. Advocating for an end to imperialism when one is racist himself? I simply can't stand it. Goodbye!
Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. And welcome back once again to Literature Review. So far, we have heard from both a psychologist and a historian on whether or not these books here should be taught in schools. And now, let me present our final guest, Mr. Clark Joseph, my college literature professor. Hello, Mr. Joseph.
Greetings, John.
So, Mr. Joseph, what is your opinion on these works?
Well, you see, I'm a literature professor, and a lot of times in my classes, my students are not the best writers. However, these works contain great writing styles that many students can emulate in their own writing. Take Letter from Birmingham Jail, for instance. It is a persuasive letter advocating for civil rights. From it, students can learn how to write persuasive works, utilizing the tone and diction that help support the argument. And therefore, these works should be taught in school because they actually use proper technique. Unlike how many students today write informally with their slang and emoticons. Personally, I don't understand that new
You really
hip
are
stuff.
outdated, huh? I mean, that is a great opinion, and a very important one too.
No problem, John. And also, anytime you want to work on your own writing, call me, okay?
Looks like that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for being on the show. Bye-bye now. We've heard from a bunch of different professionals on their opinions of these works. And so now, there's one more opinion we need to talk about. Mine, of course. Now, when I was younger, I wanted to be a writer. Now, obviously, that did not happen because I'm here as a host of a literature review show. And I think that's mostly because I was told not to follow the path I wanted to, or I'd end up on the streets. Thanks. So, here I am. But that really has taught me that I needed to know it was okay to follow my own path, regardless of what the rules of society were, because I needed to live my own life. And now, moving on to my actual analysis. From all we've heard today, I have come to my own conclusion that these works should be taught in schools. Mainly because I feel that it is important for kids and adults alike to learn about history and themselves and basically not be hindered with learning in general. Also, people should be able to, and encouraged to, learn about different topics because it helps them to know what their interests might be, and they might not be the ones that society sets out for them. And this brings us back to how many of these works teach kids to find their own path and not follow what everyone else is doing. And this is a really important thing to promote, but we have to realize that we have to allow this knowledge to first be shared in schools for them to achieve this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.